Hello everyone, so I'm Danny. So because I know that our time is running short, I guess some of you are pretty hungry as well, so bear with us. So today I'm going to deliver this topic together with Sunil as well. So basically we have just our less than 10 slides to present, okay? Sorry? Great. Not this deck, I guess. So Sunil, can you help them to put this through? So don't worry. So we start with the presentation with what blockchain means in Allianz. So, but people might wonder why in 2019, okay, we are almost to 2020. So we are still talking about what is blockchain, right? But I mean, if you imagine we have 5,000 people in Allianz, India, and we have 100,000 employees throughout this planet. We have 600 operating entities, which is literally like different companies, just simply have one thing common. They are under Allianz brand, okay? So for that, so we really need a consistent and very simple and effective definition of blockchain and how blockchain works such that we can do the educations and formulate our strategy across different levels in the enterprise. So let's try. Yeah, good. This is the one. Okay. So we kind of created a very simple, I can't say the simplest, but very simple definitions within Allianz to explain to different level from top level, chief COO, and group level COO as well, and CIO and CEO as well. So let's start with a view from 10 years old boy. So imagine you are in a world that you can strike a deal with your parents, okay? That can make sure that if your academic result is meeting certain levels, and then their incentive, say, I want to buy this box of Lego, must be executed. Because at some point, some parents might forget what they said, or just a short-term seductions to the kid to execute their prepare for the exam. So let's say we can put all these agreements on blockchain as smart contract, and then the kid like me, I will work very hard throughout the year, do my coursework, prepare my exam, and having the grades of the academic result signed into the report card of the year, and then with the digital signature from the teachers as well. So once the report card is finished, okay, which meet the criteria, the condition in the smart contract, and it will automatically execute it and fire a call to Amazon and check out the box of Lego, and the kid is happy, okay? So this is one of the explanation that we use to explain how blockchain works by a really simple analogy. And of course, time flies, the kids grow up, going through high school and things, and then go to the world of commercials, right? So we need a really very simple and effective definitions of blockchain within the enterprise, and we formulate everything from there. So this is our official definition of blockchain, disregard whatever protocols are out there. So we have a really generic blockchain that not just meaning something to technological persons, but also meaning for business as well. Okay, so what are we actually working on and what are we building? So this slide summarizes all. So because I think first thing we need to understand is that Allianz as a corporations, it really depends on what kind of network are you joining, and then what is the business model behind each kind of networks. So imagine in Allianz as an insurance player in the insurance industry. So we are highly involved in the BlockHash Consortium. So if you are not aware of what BlockHash is, so BlockHash is the blockchain insurance industry initiative. So it is a consortium formed by a group of insurance players, including different insurer, brokers, and reinsurers. So it started like a work group back in 2016 or 17. So they just sit together to explore how this technology can make an impact to insurance industry. So they have a couple of options, commercial insurance, etc. And they finally make up their mind to focus in one thing, which is reinsurance. So because right now, reinsurance is pretty manual. So mainly rely on, you can say email, phone calls, or even fax. Of course, there are some little integration between different brokers or insurers, but many of them are so heterogeneous and very manual. So we, Allianz, are fortunately, and being part of this consortium, and we are successfully joining the production network of the Briefyard network like 2 weeks ago. And thanks to my team over there as well. So, and this is a position of Allianz as a player in the insurance industry. The second thing that we are also doing is that how about we should work on something that internally within Allianz. As I said, Allianz, although you will consider it is the same company, but in fact it is not. So there are so many operating entities that throughout this planet. So how about we try to identify and validate some of the use case that can be applicable through blockchain in our own enterprise. So we highlight 3 of them. So one of them is called ACIS. So what it means is Allianz Car Insurance Settlement. So this use case is in fact very interesting. It was incubated by another hackathon back in a couple of years ago. Then evaluated, we do the business case, and we present to different operating entity. And right now we are piloting with a couple of operating entity in Europe. So what is it about? So imagine I am a policyholder of Allianz Germany, okay, and Sunil is having a policy in Allianz Spain, let's say. Okay, then we have a road trip. Okay, then we had an accident, a car accident in Allianz Italy. So of course we don't speak Italian, okay? So and the Allianz Italy have to deal with this accident because they understand Italian, they speak Italian, they deal with the Italian police, and the accident is happening there, and we have to apply the local laws there as well. But at the end of the day, after Allianz Italy deal with all these processes, claim out, pay out, they need to build back Allianz Germany, Allianz Spain, because they are actually owning the policy, not Allianz Italy. So imagine if we use blockchain to create a dossier and then make sure all these participants within this accident can be treated together and allowing the handling operating entity in Italy to build back with additional charges, with all those taxation stuff, and then build back the owning OE from Germany and Spain as well. So this is how this usage works. So of course, I mean, the same pattern, in fact, can be very likely applied to the US as well. Because US, every state have different kind of state law, and there is federal law as well. So in fact, it is kind of pattern-wise, kind of similar to EU as well. So this is one of the first case we do. And the second one is AGCS token. So I think this went quite a publicity in a couple of months back. So it is about internal settlements within Allianz enterprises. So as I said, like the previous use case, after the billing process, Allianz Germany right now need to pay Allianz Italy, right? Yeah, Allianz Italy. But you can imagine right now they are doing through banks. But how about within a group, we can transfer the money with tokens internally without going through banks, okay, to try to minimize all kind of potential reconciliations, bank fees, etc., right? So this is one of the things that we are trying to do. So another one is about captive insurance. So this one is very interesting as well. So imagine we have an international client that have 500 offices around the world, and we have different distribution of Allianz operating entity alongside with the international client. So can you imagine if we have one process called premium collections? How many emails will be produced just for premium collections within Allianz? So I won't share the exact number, but I can tell you it is over thousands of emails, okay? So what about we can have a single point of truth, not just within Allianz, but with our international captive client as well, to make sure all the processes are transparent and up to date, right? And we can do bi-directional updates from any part of the world, with making sure it is consent as well. So these are the kind of Allianz founder type of network. And of course, from an Allianz perspective, what do we do as a financial institutions that working across different industry pillars? So you can imagine we have, of course, we have the prime example of supply chain. We have the prime example of different supply chain like food trusts or trade lanes that connecting shipments and food as well. So, and also, of course, we have different kind of trade finance network like Marco Polo and other trade finance in the Asia as well. So as Allianz, we always trying to find interaction points with these networks that can bring value to Allianz. Say, for example, is there any kind of sales channel there? Is there any kind of things that we can harvest the data for optimizing our product? So these are the area that we're exploring as well. So I think, again, there is a very similar chart that we have saw, but this is a little bit different. So this is specifically the blockchain business in 2019 from the Gartner as well. So as you can see, blockchain in insurance, right now they said 2019 is at the top of the hype, and then in my point of view and in our point of view as well, Allianz point of view, it's not true. So we already hit that point back in 2018. Okay, so I think the top of the hype was kind of serious within Allianz in 2017. So because they even think blockchain might serve the world hunger. So after I joined Allianz, together with my teammates, we do continuous calibrations and educations within the enterprise to make sure that how do we position DLT and blockchains within enterprise and within Allianz. The second thing is I want to highlight is blockchain consortium. So we think this is real, and that's why we are so heavily involved in multiple consortium. Like the obvious one I mentioned is 3i. And our point of view is that for blockchain consortium to work, we have to consider something very critical. Is that when we incubate a consortium, we need to really define the incentive model of this kind of consortium. So because blockchain is a collaboration technology after all. So if most of the participants left the party, then the network is gone. So that's why we have like 92%, as Martha presented, 92% of the blockchain solution is gone. So we are not talking about total self-differentiation technology like AI and other stuff. So we are trying to connect together to build value and reduce complexity together. Okay? So we need to find a way that to create a consortium with a business model that everyone should have some sort of incentive. Okay? So and I think the remaining content will be delivered by Sunil. So do you? Okay, good.
Thank you, Danny. Thank you for the introduction as well as setting the context. Yeah. So I think we all appreciate simplicity, right? And I think Danny beautifully explained how simple the concept of blockchain is. What blockchain is actually providing is a platform for trustful collaboration, right? I think we can all look at it from different dimensions, but at the end of the day, what blockchain is facilitating is a platform for trustful collaboration, and it's very important for business like ours. See, we are not a technology company, but rather we are exploiting technology to make business happen. And there we appreciate simplicity. As a technologist, we might embrace complexity, but as business, we need to achieve simplicity so that we can create simple products, and we can pass that benefit to the customer. And we believe that blockchain can help us to deliver this in the insurance business in particular. I'll give an example. We all know that insurance is a very process-centric business, and from the time immemorial, it has been based on reconciliation at various stages. And if we can build a system based on blockchain that can help us to do trustful collaboration, then what that will facilitate us to do is to look at the single source of truth. If you see is what I see, and if we can progress on that basis, then we don't need to do reconciliation. Yeah. So that means that we have an opportunity to eliminate reconciliation, and we believe that this is where blockchain can add value, specifically in insurance industry. In fact, the strategy of Allianz is simplicity wins, right? And I think simplicity is the greatest sophistication. Yeah, this is another important question we normally hear. Blockchain is seen as a trust machine, and it has the potential to eliminate the trusted third party. But our position, we don't see that to happen soon. We believe that in the new model, the trusted third party is going to be there, but the business model is likely to change, and this trusted third party is likely to work closely with the customer. They will spend more time with the customer, and this can change the business model, but it's going to be there at least in insurance business. Yeah. Now, we will also share about our team, which is the Global Blockchain Center of Competence, what we do. I think as we saw in various sessions today morning, when we work with disruptive technologies, it's very important to appreciate the pace of change outside the organization. You may not be able to track all that within the organization. We need to connect to innovative minds in startups, academia, as well as government, because insurance is a highly regulated business, and we need to get that feedback from all these parties. So that's the purpose of Global Blockchain Center of Competence, where we believe that as an insurance company, we need to have this connection to all these entities. And also, we are a big company, and we have operations in 80 countries. We have 600 operating entities, meaning we need to have a kind of standardized approach. And there is a lot of buzz around blockchain. If all these 600 entities are going to adopt blockchain in a way that they appreciate will make sense, that's going to create more of a chaos situation. So we would like to standardize our approach. We will be defining the reference architecture. We will be defining the technology stack, which is very important from an enterprise perspective. Yeah, and then we are also advising the government, the World Economic Forum, and you might have also noticed that Global Blockchain Center of Competence is in the Forbes top 50 blockchain teams to watch out for, and we feel privileged to be in that list. Okay. Now again, this is also about taking blockchain to reality. And now we are not just talking about proof of concepts, how we can make blockchain real in business. Again, insurance business is one of the first industry that actually adopted computerization, meaning we still have systems that we developed 40 years back, and we cannot throw them away, and because they are actually playing very crucial role in the way we run our business. So when we talk about blockchain from a customer journey perspective, we cannot think about a solution that's likely to cover more than 10% of the customer journey, which means that your solution should have the capability to talk to your existing systems. Your solution should be able to talk to your existing legacy systems. So when you are designing fancy blockchain solutions, if you are not factoring in this aspect, then your solution may not be able to deliver the intended benefit. And this is what we meant by this. You should be able to integrate your solution with the existing system, and this is going to be a reality when you look at this from enterprise perspective. Yeah. Then yeah, why should the insurance industry care about blockchain? I think this is the topic that I actually discussed in various forums in the past, but we will share our take on this. I think, of course, single source of truth is something that we all associate with blockchain, and as we discussed, this can reduce reconciliation, and this can help us to collaborate within the organization. So for example, in a large organization like Allianz, where we have 600 operating entities, it's very important that we all see same source of truth. Okay. Similarly, when you collaborate with other organizations in the same domain, for example, insurance company 1 is talking to insurance companies 2, there also, if you can create a platform that facilitates single source of truth, that's going to again reduce the wait time in interactions between these organizations, and that's also going to benefit to simplify the process. Smart contracts, yes, we discussed this. There are numerous areas where we will be able to kickstart the process automatically, and that's also going to simplify the process as well as reduce the wait time. Immutability of records, yeah, this is also again topic, a point or characteristics associated with blockchain, and this will give us better traceability of data. This will help us to trust the data, and this will also help us to improve the quality of data, and with the improved quality of data we will be able to do better analytics, and in the insurance industry we can have applications like fraud detection for this. And new market and market potentials, we believe that there can be new market models based on blockchain technology in the coming years. We may not know how it's going to look like, but there can be insurance models like P2P, etc., which can be considered as example. Peer-to-peer insurance is what P2P stands for. And we were about to discuss tokens as well, but after the previous session we were just thinking again how to discuss the concept of tokens, but in principle what tokens would offer you is to reduce the dependency on the bank, such that global organizations like Allianz will be able to do the payments and settlements without also with minimum interactions with the bank. Because when you talk to banks, the problem is if you want to transfer money from say UK to India, it can take anywhere between 5 to 10 days, but if you are sending a mail, it will get there maybe in 5 to 10 seconds, right? So now this kind of settlement delays is going to be painful from a business perspective, and this is what we are trying to address through the application of tokens. But of course we need to actually further deliberations from a regulatory perspective.
Point down, right?
Yeah. Can you please go to the next one? Okay, yeah. So here, so what is that Allianz as an insurance company would like to do? I think in today's morning session, we came to know that there are 1.2 billion people who are going to be on the move in the future. So as an insurance company, we would like to tap the next 1 billion insurable market, and we may not be able to find that through our conventional approaches, because the target customers could be on the move. They may not have a bank account, and then how we can insure them? It's very important that in the new world we need to think about solutions for this kind of problems, and we believe that we as an insurance company will be able to help an individual by insuring them even if they are on the move. We will be helping their families, and by helping their families we'll be helping the societies. In turn, we will be helping the localities and even countries, and that will be our aim with this technology. How we can apply this technology to actually tap the next 1 billion people who we may not be able to cover with the conventional technologies. And that's our last slide, and with that we are open for questions.
Hi Danny, my name is Suji. So there was an interesting things that I think the gentleman has said. He said that you're focusing on insurance to insurance. Isn't it very similar to what the advocate Napinai said, that it is a solution trying to find a use case? Why I'm asking this question is that, so there's a lot of trade credit insurance, trade credit being supply chain credit, supply chain finance being in the market for a long time.
Yeah.
So does your trade credit insurance supports blockchain?
So can you listen to the...
Can you please repeat the question?
So you have a trade credit insurance, right?
Yeah.
So there is a lot of blockchain initiatives out there like Marco Polo, Voltran, and many other blockchain initiatives that supports the trade. So have you ever tried to link with Marco Polos or any other blockchain?
Okay. Yeah. So
or are you trying to build something inside it within Allianz or within the insurance community as a consortium?
Okay, so as I mentioned in the slide, we have to see each use case how Allianz play a role in that value chain. So of course, for industry consortium like the Briefy, I talk quite a lot on it, and on the final column, or insurance as a financial institutions. So we have been engaging Marco Polo as well, and Euler Hermes and Allianz SPA to see whether it is appropriate for them to join this kind of network. So of course, I mean, within Allianz, in fact, it is not really an easy journey to kickstart a project, blockchain or not. We have a lot of business case build up to business prioritization. So of course, this has been kind of already considered and should be in the planning phase. Yeah. So I think one point to supplement is that from Allianz perspective, we are not just trying to look at external world, okay? Of course, looking at external world, there are other whatever kinds of business network are running. We are always eager to know more whether there is an interaction point that we can tap into to gain value to our organization. But at the same time, because of our strategy of simplicity wins, we always want to build a more connected enterprise. Not talking about only more connected within one particular country, but because we are having a lot of international business as well. So how do we build a more international connected enterprise? So this is one of our direction as well. So once we come to a point that internally connected enterprise, then we will try to expand the network either inside out or outside in. So this is our strategy.
Yeah, and then if I may also add a point, I think as Danny explained in the previous slide, when it comes to our approach to adoption of blockchain, we look at it in 3 different dimensions. And of course, in that one of the dimension is through consortium. And B3I is our model, okay, when it comes to consortium. And that's where we are focusing our energy when it comes to be part of a blockchain-based network, if that's your question.
Insurance, internal looking into the insurance. So that is again my point was that what Advocate Napinai was telling about, is it a solution that insurance companies are trying to solve within yourself? It may not need a blockchain, it will a simple database can do. So what is an internal solution or an internal use case has to do with blockchain? I'm trying to understand that.
Yeah, I think yeah, we can have further discussions offline on that topic. In order to do justice to others as well, we will pass on the question, but happy to take that discussion further. Yes, please.
My name is Sriranjini. So thank you for the presentation, especially the part on how there are legacy systems to be considered. And my question was on the implementation phase that you would have undergone. So you have been there, done that, and lived to talk about it. So could you give some pointers as to what might have been the challenges? Like, is there any special impact on end users who use the softwares? And the return on investment, actually. So we know the disintermediation and when there are no intermediaries regarding the payment and all that, but specific like return on investment in terms of time or effort, cost, not the actual numbers, but what were your plans for it?
So can you repeat the question?
Yeah, the question is, what are our production challenges when we went ahead with implementation of a typical production system?
Oh, okay. So so there are a couple of use cases. So let's talk about a more external facing project that BriefEI that we are working on. So of course we can ask BriefEI to provision a node inside the network using their node as a service. But we, as a financial institutions, highly regulated enterprise, we still prefer to host the node ourselves. So when we plan this, we first got to understand the compliance, the security, all those governance measures within an enterprise. Say, for example, is there any measures that ask you whether this solution can be hosted on cloud, and whether what kind of security measure or what kind of security check that we need to go through, and this has to be very identified in a very early stage. And the second thing is that, I mean, we need to start with the educations to different level, not just the management, but also the enterprise architects, to make sure they have a consistent understanding. Because why we pull up a very simple and effective definition and a very clear positioning for the DLT within Allianz is that if we have a inconsistent positioning and unclear positioning with other type of technologies, there is a very unlikely buy-in from the enterprise. So this is talking about the planning stage. So of course from the implementation perspective, because I think one thing we got to share is that I think most of the enterprises have different kind of security measures. But I think we got to also understand that blockchain is running some non-typical protocols other than HTTP and HTTPS. So because when you're talking about opening up different connectivities to external partners with non-HTTP protocols, then we might need to even consider is there any kind of new standard we need to introduce? Is there any kind of revalidation of compliances within the enterprises? Is that we need to work with security teams and compliance teams to make sure all these checkboxes are ticked before we launch the production. I think these are something very time consuming, and you got to expect a lot of pushback, and you got to be very persistent, keep on explaining to them, and then you will somehow luckily make it.
And if I may add on, if you are trying to deploy this in the cloud, for example, your conventional approach to approach to say web-based applications may not work, because effectively what we are doing is, if you are trying to, for example, create a blockchain application that facilitates an integration with another organization, you are trying to build we are trying to build a pipe that allows information exchange between these two organizations. Yeah. And it's not just information exchange at message level, but you are trying to integrate these two organizations at process level. Yeah, and that's I think that we will discuss the afternoon session. You are taking you are actually taking the enterprise integration to a whole new level. So you should factor in that and and you should be able to look at that from different dimensions. And security is the most important one.
Thank you.
And how many more questions we will be able to take?
So I think we can off for lunch. No, not one more. Yeah.
I'm Vijay. Probably, I just want to know if you could share, how did you start the blockchain journey within Allianz? Probably, how was the journey? How easy was it? How easy to build a team? And how, it's not an easy task, but if it's okay for you to share your journey, how Allianz, happy to see the growth in Allianz on the blockchain front.
Right, so I think I will do a deep dive topic on day 2. Have part of the, your questions answered. So right now I just do it in a high level. So I think back in 2017 and 2016, we started with a very siloed POC all around the world. But I think at one point that we figured out that blockchain is beyond innovations. In fact, we really want to put it blockchain just like any other technology things, like API gateway, event broker, etc., and then put it like just a same tool inside the toolbox, become a standard. So that's why at that stage, we talk with top management within Allianz and extract this kind of functionality to as a group level stuff. So this is how we first of all formulate the team. Of course, that time only 2 persons, Bob and me. Okay. Then we gradually talk with other executives in India, and then we have Sunil and other teammates on board as well. So and this is how the team form up. And also, of course, from an execution perspective, we need to first of all define a very clear and simple, effective definition that I have been talking all the time, that within Allianz, and do educations all the time to all the levels. So like in different Allianz operating entities, usually they have some annual big event on IT, something like IT University. So usually we will participate and make sure that the understanding of blockchain is not something that you Google on the first page, okay? Because I think we need to really position carefully. And in fact, I will share a little bit on how we come up with our preferred protocols within Allianz as well. Because you can imagine every single company within Allianz have their own IT department. Okay, so and of course at the group level we have standard as well, but I think the governance is kind of autonomous. So if we need to, first of all we have a single consistent standing and view, and then we need to explain to all other OEs to make sure that, say for example, if we want to launch something globally, okay, then make sure that it can be done easily, rather than, I mean, someone misunderstood we are doing cryptocurrency trading, etc.